right. Bunch of lazy dogs. It's nap time. Duke. Here's Stonewall. Last time the world saw him, he was a little puppy. Now he's about 6 months old. He's a big boy. And he looks just like his mama. Yeah. He's a good dog. We chose the right one. Here's Bobby Joe. And here's Lucy. Lucy's nice and pregnant, so is Bobby Joe. And I expect that Lucy and Bobby Joe here are going to give birth at about the same exact time. I'm guessing they've got about 3 weeks or so before they have their puppies. There's Miss Butter. Butter. No, come back, Butter. The world hasn't seen a whole lot of Butter either, but she is officially a part of the family. She sleeps inside just like Maple does. Oh, Butter. Hi, Butter. You're just so cute. And she is so gentle with her mouth. And you can put your fingers in her mouth and she won't do a thing about it. She is very skittish. She scares more easily than Maple does. Alright, so here's our little stock pond. I actually cleaned it out the other day pretty well. I'm probably gonna drain it and clean it one more time again. Just for the start of the season. I like to get everything looking really good when spring comes around. I've got a ton of babies in here. So in fact, anybody who purchases a puppy, if you would like to have a goldfish, you can have a goldfish. A lot of them are long-tail goldfish actually, so they're really pretty. I really like having this little stock pond. It's just a nice pretty thing to look at, and those long-tail goldfish are just really gorgeous. And they don't require aeration. As long as you have a deep enough tank to where it keeps the water cool enough, then you can get away without any aeration. Now you do have to... Hey! Hey! Stonewall? No, sir. No, sir. Stonewall is barking at Butter for getting a little too close to his food, but he's still learning. He's still young. Anyhow, so you don't need aeration for these fish. So it's kind of a nice way to do kind of a basic little pond. Those are lilies. And they do produce nice, pretty pink flowers. Now in the winter, I've got a stock tank heater that I will submerge in here just to keep it from icing over. And then you do have to empty the stock tank to clean it out now and then. Especially because we've got this underneath these trees, so it'll drop leaves and debris in here. And of course, the fish create waste. Now, to a certain degree, any plants like these will help to absorb that waste, but I mean, you can see just how many little fish we've got in here. It's a lot of waste, so I do have to clean it. And here's some of our sheep. We've got some youngsters. Got 9 lambs who were born this year. So we're still not at the maximum number of sheep that we really want. Not just yet. And as far as the exact number we want, I don't know. It's one of those things where I'll know it when I get there. But we're trying to add more females to grow our flock. And funny thing is, last year we had only 1 female born. It was like the worst luck ever. We had so many boys, like we just didn't know what to do with them all. I mean, I know what to do with them. You know, you slaughter them and eat them. But this year we've had 9 lambs born, 4 males and 5 females. So that's awesome. I'm super happy about that. my little lambs, my little ewe lambs. There's Duke doing his job. Oh, now he wants to get some loving. Hey, Duke. Oh, my boy. And here comes Bobby Joe. Oh, gosh. This is getting crazy. Hi, everyone. Yes, just like your mama. Yes, good to see you. Stonewall, you're such a sweet boy. Sack of potatoes. This boy is the most chilled out ever. Right, dude? Totally chilled. But he's awesome at his job. He does exactly what he's supposed to do. He's just very low-key. That's what I like. That's a good boy. Look at Miss Ladybird. All these babies. Look at how big. Look at this guy. And their little eyes are opening up. Let's see if I can get it. Yeah, let's see your eyes. No, you're too squirmy. Come here, let me see. Okay. Come here, let me see. Alright. So the puppies have officially been moved to the porch. Here's Stonewall. And here's Ladybird with the babies. And the peacocks are checking out the babies. Always very curious. Here we go. Excuse me. And look at your babies. Look at all these babies. Yeah, it's getting a little bit messy inside. All right, little girl. Let's get you in there. Oh my God. Look at you. He's deep diving for a nipple. Oh, it's a predicament. Alright, so there's not a whole lot to report except that we've got open eyes. Let's see your eyes. There they are. You're so messy. I'll get these little guys cleaned up a little bit now that they've moved out here. They're babies, so they're messy, of course. But yeah, their eyes are open. They're starting to crawl around now. So by next week, they will also start trying out some puppy food. They kind of just mouth it. They don't do a great job of actually eating puppy food this young, but we'll definitely start to test it out. Good mama. You're so good. Ladybird has also been restless. She doesn't want to be in that room anymore. So it takes really just a couple weeks for her to, you know, do what she needs to do to get those puppies through the first couple weeks, and then she still likes to go out and check on all the animals. So it's perfect timing getting them out here at this stage. And then we got chickens who will come in here and check them out. Perfect timing for this. And then also next week, these puppies will end up moving from here out to the chicken coop. I actually put them underneath the chicken coop, and that's where they end up hanging out. And by that stage, they're mobile enough to be able to move around if they need to get out of the way of one thing or another. but then they start to get much closer contact with the chickens, just on a constant basis. At this stage, they just get little visitations from the chickens. They're doing very good. All right. Just a bunch of roly-poly babies eating. That's what we got. I'll have a lot more to update you on come next week. Alright, now while I'm out here, let me update some of the other dogs. Of course, there's Stonewall, spitting image of his mama. Here's Duke, taking a nap, as usual. That's a Spot. Hi, Lucy. We're gonna have babies. Let me see your pregnant belly. Let me see that pregnant belly. I can't tell because of all the fur, but there's definitely a pregnant belly there. Oh, Lucy. You know what? Let me talk about Pyrenees a little bit, because I find there's a lot of misconception about Pyrenees. People see them as a bad livestock guardian, because it seems that on the internet people describe Pyrenees as the type of dog that will roam too much. And here's my answer to that. Any livestock guardian dog will roam off of your property if you don't have good fencing. It's their job to make sure that the surroundings around their territory is clear of threats. And dogs don't understand the difference between your property line and somebody else's property line. Now, a lot of it also comes down to training. And, you know, some of it is definitely genetics and personality. That's definitely a thing. But, you know, you can have Maremmas who will roam and then Maremmas who don't. You can have Pyrenees who roam and then Pyrenees who don't. All of the dogs that we breed do not show a propensity to roam. But still, even our dogs, if we don't have proper fencing, they're liable to go check out what's on the other side of that fence just to make sure everything is safe, because that's just their job. Now, I'll tell you what, the dogs who roam the least here is Duke. Duke never roams. I mean, never even thinks about roaming. Stonewall, who is half Pyrenees, half Maremma, also Ladybird. And then I would say she's not a roamer, but sometimes she will decide that it's time to go patrol a little bit farther out into our pastures, like where livestock are not at. And that's what people will call roaming. But here's another thing I definitely believe. It's good to have patrollers who will roam the property and make sure that the farthest parts of the property are secured and there's no detection of any trespassing predators. And then you also need dogs that are more likely to stay very close with the animals. Having both traits in livestock guardian dogs in your team is what's going to keep your animals safer. And then I would say that Bobby Joe, our Maremma, she's the one who patrols the most, and we call her our best livestock guardian, and she definitely is. I mean, she is very alert and in tune with everything. She checks on everything to make sure she knows exactly what's going on this property. And they all do their own little part. They have their own slightly different jobs in that way. But I would not consider any of our dogs roaming dogs, and especially not our Pyrenees. Here's another thing I have to say about Pyrenees. Pyrenees are going to be your most loyal livestock guardians. They will be absolutely loyal to you and their territory and their animals. Now, Maremmas are definitely very loyal. I would say more loyal to their livestock as opposed to you and their territory. They are smarter than Pyrenees. Pyrenees are a little derpy, maybe one-track mind, kind of like the big lug of the team. But very strong, formidable opponents. And Maremmas maybe don't fare quite as well in a fight, but you know, they will stand up for sure. I would say that Maremmas are better for alerting. I also have people tell me that they want Maremmas because they've heard that they're the best guardians for chickens or like other types of fowl. And I mean, yeah, they're pretty good for that purpose, but I would say no better than Pyrenees. In fact, our best chicken dog is Duke. Duke is our chicken boy. And the awesome thing about Duke is that he does not like big flying birds. So if a hawk or some sort of a buzzard or vulture flies over, he will not let it land. I mean, he will run the entire length of our property to make sure that bird does not land here. He's amazing. I mean, I don't know what we would do without him. And he's taught a little bit of that to our other dogs as well, but he's the one who's most on point with that. So he's by far my best chicken dog, for sure. But overall, with any livestock guardian breed, I mean, they're not exactly bred for guarding chickens. I mean, they're really bred for guarding, you know, other four-legged mammals on your property. Now, chickens will gain the protection of these dogs just because they're part of the territory. But these dogs do not bond to chickens in the way they do with other livestock. You're not going to see that. That's just how it goes. I don't care what breed of livestock guardian you're talking about. So more so, when it comes to protecting chickens, it's one of those things where they have to be taught a little more so how to handle chickens. You have to make sure that they understand that chickens are not a toy. And then as they mature, they understand, okay, we have to protect the chickens as well. But it's just never going to be quite the same as what you experience between a livestock guardian and sheep, for instance, or goats, or cattle as well. So, just to kind of clarify some things, nonetheless, there are certain tendencies that you will definitely see in certain breeds. Now, if you gave a Pyrenees more territory to roam, then yes, they will happily roam those more vast territories that you give them. But just no matter what kind of dog you have, if you don't have appropriate fencing, they're not necessarily going to choose to stay on your property because they just don't know any better. They don't know the difference between your land and somebody else's. It is very important to have good fencing so your dog doesn't wander off and then someone shoots them because they think your dog's trying to do something wrong or they're just not happy with your dog on their property. And then, fence training. That's something that's also important for these dogs. If you have good fencing in the first place, then they're not liable to slip through that fencing or even try it in the first place. These chickens are so interested in those babies. Well, I just walked out here this morning and I found Stonewall over here. And he is guarding this dead chicken. There's no indication that he killed it, and in fact, I knew that this chicken was sick. She's been acting sick for a while. I even have given her a couple of treatments just in case it was parasites that were causing the problem, but chickens are just not hardy animals. So I'm not surprised that this chicken passed, but you are such a good boy. Thank you for guarding her. You're such a good boy, doing exactly what you're supposed to do. This is my boy. You do such a good job. Such a good boy. Such a good boy. Thank you. He was just laying right next to the chicken. Such a good boy.